Hey, hi guys, this is Arpita Tulsyan here. So in this particular video, we are going to cover up all the amendments for CA Inter IDT, okay, GST amendments which are applicable for May 2025 examination and onwards, okay, all the amendments till, okay, all the amendments till 31st October 2024, all amendments till 31st October, that is the cutoff date. Okay, this is the cutoff date for your May 25 examination. So all the amendments I have compiled here from your ICS study material. Okay, now they have released the study material for May 25 examination. So whatever are the additional amendments we have compiled in this particular PDF, which will be available for you for downloads. Okay, you can download it from my website arpitatulsyan.com. Free notes section, free resources, free notes section. From there you can download the same. Yes, and in this particular video, we are going to discuss, okay, whatever, there are small amendments. In this particular video, chapter-wise amendments we are going to discuss. Yes, and yes, this particular sheet covers the amendments from May to October, and definitely when you would have studied the concepts before, okay, you would have covered the basic things, okay, you would have covered the basic chapters. Now, whatever are the additions that we are going to cover in this particular video. Yes, I hope we are good to go, and let's start the amendments chapter wise. Yes. Okay. So in the first chapter, that is GST in India and introduction, there are two things which I would like to add here. Okay. One is regarding the GST compensation cess. If you want, I can just show it to you in the textbook also, so that you will be able to relate to the same. In your textbook, you will be having a paragraph called as GST compensation cess. What you can do is you can just find it out in your textbook. If you're not able to find out, just pause the video and then you can just search for it. Can you see this paragraph called as GST compensation cess, which they had levied when we were coming from the old law to the new law, just to compensate the states, right? Just to compensate the states, they had come up with this cess called as GST compensation cess on some luxury items and demerit items, if you can recollect. So initially it was levied for a period of 5 years, that is up to 30th June 2022 it was made applicable, but then later they extended it and now it is applicable till when? Now it is applicable till 31st March 2026. Okay, can be a MCQ type of a question, that GST compensation cess is now applicable till 31st March 2026. This is one thing that we have to remember here. Okay, this was one of the addition which I want to make here in the textbook. Another addition, okay, another addition which is there here is in the content of GST council. Okay, in your textbook, you can come to the GST council answer near the end, almost near the end of the chapter, that is article number 279A, as you can remember, if you can remember. Yes, GST council was found, finance minister was the chairman, then they had certain functions, very important functions were discharged by the GST council, and all those things happen. Okay, in that one of the thing which I would like to add here is this point. Yes. Okay, I'll show it to you in your amendment notes, so that addition notes, so that you can make a note of it later. Okay, now see, GST council was a council which had many members within it. It was chaired by the finance minister, then it had many people representing from the states, many people from here and there, etc. And then they were giving the recommendations, right? Their functions included to give the recommendations that what should be the rates of GST, on which items exemption should be there, which states will be categorized as special category states, and all those things we had studied in GST council. Okay, now see what are they telling us here? Very general, very basic. No act or proceedings of the GST council shall be invalid. Means any work done by the GST council will not be invalid. Okay, not be invalid means everything done by the GST council is going to be valid. Okay, now when, in which circumstances any work done by the GST council will be considered as valid? By reason of any vacancy or any defect in the constitution of the council. Okay, now let's say we already know that in the constitution of GST council, can you see this on the board? Yes, in the constitution of the GST council, there are certain members. Let's say finance minister is there, union minister of the state in charge of revenue or finance is there, etc. Let's say there is any vacancy in their place. Okay, vacancy means their position has got vacant. That can be because of resignation, that can be because of death, or that can be because of any other reason. One of the places in the GST council is vacant. Okay, jagah khali ho gayi. The place is empty now. So can the other members, by the time we fill that vacancy, okay, by the time we fill that vacancy, by the time we appoint a new person, can others still continue to act? So the answer is yes. So the work done by others, okay, the work done by others will still be considered as valid. Are you clear with this? Okay, so just because there is a vacancy in the GST council, or just because there was some mistake, or just because there was some defect in appointment, okay, in appointment of any members in the GST council, just because there is a vacancy, or just because there is a mistake that happened at the time of appointment of any member in the GST council, that does not mean that work done by the GST council will become invalid. No, no, the other people can still continue to do the work. Okay, similarly, if there is any defect, okay, if there is any defect in appointment of a person as a member of the council, while appointing, that person was required to have a certain qualification, but there was a mistake. Okay, at the time of his appointment, we appointed a wrong person. So that does not mean the work done by GST council is invalid. No, you will have to rectify the defect. Okay, but the work done by the GST council will be considered as valid. Okay, and similarly, any procedural irregularity means if there is any irregularity, let's say GST council was supposed to call a meeting, okay, at so many intervals, after so many months they were required to compulsorily call a meeting, but there was certain sort of delay. Okay, some procedural mistake happened here. That does not affect the merits of the case, means that does not affect any decisions which is taken by the GST council. Okay, so what are they trying to tell us here is these small things are not going to affect any work done by the GST council. Are you clear with this? Yes, so these two additions, these are not amendments actually, but these are the two additions which have been put in the ICI material. So we have also included here. Just take a note of it. Okay, first one was compensation cess. Now it is extended till 31st March 2026. And second one is any work done by the GST council will not be considered as invalid just because of three reasons. Just because there is any vacancy or defect in the formation of the council, or just because there is any defect in appointment of any member, or just because of any procedural irregularity. Okay, because of these three things, if you want, I'll highlight it again. Any vacancy or defect in constitution of the council, any defect in appointment of any person, or any because of any procedural irregularity, the work done by other members of the GST council will still be considered as valid. Are you clear till here? Yes, so these are the two additions. Just make these two additions in your book. Yes? Okay. Okay, so let's start with the amendment that we have to do for supply under GST chapter. Okay, very simple. One circular first. Let's take up this circular which is newly added. This is circular number 195/07/2023, dated 17 July 2023, read with this new circular, that is 216/10/2024 GST, dated 26 June 2024. Okay, it is a very simple circular, a very general circular, not specifically applicable to a particular section, but overall in general applicable to the supply chapter. Okay, now what we had studied under supply under GST chapter was if a particular transaction is considered as a supply. Okay, if a transaction is considered as a supply, then GST will be applicable. No supply, no GST. That was the logic that we had considered. Yaad aa raha hai aisa kuch? Yes, are you able to recollect that? Okay, we had done section number 7, full one big section number 7 we had done, and at the end we had gone to section number 8, that is composite and mixed supplies, etc. Are you clear till here? Yes, can we start with the circular now? Now this is a very simple clarification and a very logical clarification also, that sometimes it happens, you must have seen, sometimes it happens that when we purchase a particular product, Okay, when we purchase, let's say I purchase this particular AC remote, and from whoever I'm purchasing this AC remote, they will give me a warranty, right? They will give me a warranty. In that warranty, they will tell me that if something happens to this particular remote, let's say within a time period of 1 year, then we will do free replacement, we will do free repairs, etc. Right? So in some cases, the customers get it done totally for free. Okay. If some defect is covered in the warranty, then I will get everything done for free. Sometimes it happens that they say that this part is free, this part you will have to pay, etc. So in that case, is GST applicable or is GST not applicable? That is the clarification about. Okay. Now just see the heading, you will come to know. Clarification on liability to pay GST in respect of warranty replacement of parts and repair services during warranty period. See, normally if our product is not covered under warranty, then so we will have to pay for that particular repair. And if we are paying for that repair, then anyway GST will be applicable. But what if it is a free replacement, or what if it is a partial free replacement, etc.? Then what will be the position of GST in such a case? That we need to find out. Yes. Okay. So now you're starting with the first issue. Let's try. Okay, let's try this first issue. There are cases where the original manufacturer offers warranty for the goods supplied by him to the customer. Okay, manufacturer. Let's say this is a remote which is belonging to, let's say for example, Samsung company. Okay, so Samsung is giving free warranty to its customers and provides replacement of parts and repair services during the warranty period without charging any consideration. Without charging any consideration. I hope you understand the relevance of that. Yes, I hope you understand the relevance of that. Without charging any consideration means free. Yes. Now, whether GST would be payable, on such replacement of parts or supply of repair services without any consideration from the customer as a part of warranty. So now, here, can I say, since we are not paying anything, to the original manufacturer, then in that case, is there any consideration involved? No, there is no consideration involved at all. Right? If there is no consideration involved, then what will be the scenario? Then they are telling that there will be no GST, no further GST is chargeable, because if there is no consideration, then on what amount will we charge the GST? However, if any additional consideration, if they say, no, you will have to pay 100 rupees extra as service charge, then on that 100 GST will be applicable. Otherwise, GST is totally not applicable, because here there is no consideration that is in. I hope I am clear with this, everyone. Yes. Okay. Then going on to the next one. Okay, what you can do here is you can simply write the small conclusion. See, as of now, I have taken here the entire clarification. Okay, entire circular that was put, I have taken it here. But for your studies reference purpose, you can just simplify it in short and write besides it, so that when you revise, it will become very, very simple. Yes. Chalo then, let's go on to the next one. Whether GST would be payable on replacement of parts or repair services provided by a distributor without any consideration from the customer. Now see, there is a new person coming in between, that is the distributor. Now, in the above case, who was giving me the warranty? Warranty was given to me by the manufacturer, by the main company. Now here, who is providing me the replacement or repair services? That is provided to me by the distributor. Okay, now let's say if I want to purchase an AC, okay, along with AC remote, obviously, I can go to Chroma shop. So Chroma is not the manufacturer of that Samsung AC. Chroma is going to be the distributor. So here the distributor is giving this service to whom? Distributor is giving this service to the customer, right? So again, what will be your conclusion? If distributor is giving this free warranty without any consideration, okay, it is giving this free warranty to the customer, then definitely there is going to be no GST. Same logic, right? But if they are charging any additional consideration, then in that case GST will be applicable on such supply. Did you understand the difference between the first one and the second one? Yes, in the first one, original equipment manufacturer gave me the Original equipment manufacturer, main manufacturer gave me the warranty. In the second one, the warranty was given to me by the distributor. Are you clear with this? Yes? Okay. Then after that, again, the third one is very, very simple. Let's try to understand this one. In the above scenario, where the distributor provides replacement of parts to the customer as a part of warranty on behalf of the manufacturer, whether any supply is involved between distributor to manufacturer. See, can I say manufacturer would have sold it to the distributor? Yes, and then the distributor finally sold it to the customer. Okay, now here, who gave the warranty to whom? Distributor gave the warranty to the customer. Okay, distributor did the free replacement, free repairs for the customer. But the distributor is doing this on whose behalf? The distributor is doing this on behalf of the manufacturer, right? So now in this case, now they are telling that there can be multiple circumstances there. Now they are telling, if the distributor replaces the part to the customer under warranty, either using his own stock, let's say there is some part which is, which has become default, etc. If he is doing it from his own stock, means the distributor is doing it from his own stock, or the distributor is purchasing that spare part from a third party and charges the consideration from the manufacturer, means distributor is providing to the customer for free, but he is charging money from whom? He is charging money from the manufacturer, because he was doing this work on whose behalf? He was doing this work on behalf of the manufacturer. So who is going to pay the amount to whom? Manufacturer is going to pay that amount to the distributor, because distributor has done that kharcha, distributor has done that expenses. Yes, so in this case, because there is some consideration, now we are talking about these people, we are talking about manufacturer to distributor. Yes, so now in this case, can we say there is consideration involved? If there is consideration involved, then there will be definitely GST applicable on the same. Understanding this? Okay. Similarly, next they are telling is, there may be cases where the distributor raises a requisition to the manufacturer. Distributor raises a request with the manufacturer for the parts to be replaced by him, and then the manufacturer provides the said parts to the distributor for replacement. Okay, now, suppose, okay, now here, in the first case, what was happening? Distributor was using his own spare parts and doing the repair, or he was purchasing from some third party and getting it reimbursed from whom? He was getting it reimbursed from the manufacturer. In the second case, they are telling that manufacturer is providing those spare parts to the distributor, and if that is provided for free, okay, if that is provided without separately charging any consideration, means manufacturer is giving the spare parts to the distributor for free and distributor is giving it to the customer for free. Any consideration involved or no consideration involved? No consideration. Can we say here also there is no consideration involved? If there is no consideration involved, then there will be no GST applicable. Are you understanding this? Okay, simple. Okay. Then after that, similarly, another circumstance. Now, there may be cases where the distributor replaces, okay, where the distributor replaces the part to the customer under warranty out of the supply already received by him from the manufacturer. Now, manufacturer had already given, let's say manufacturer had already given some spare parts to the distributor already. He had already supplied, means the manufacturer had already given it to the distributor for some consideration earlier itself, in advance. In advance, the manufacturer gave it to the distributor some spare parts, that you please keep this, you please keep these spare parts with you, and whenever a customer comes to you under warranty, you can do the replacement, etc. Means in that case, can we say this supply was already recorded, manufacturer to distributor, this supply was already recorded, right? Yes. So now in this case, suppose if the sale bill was already made, then in that case, and if the distributor had already paid for the same, then already GST was applicable on the same. Are you clear with this? Then already GST was applicable at the time of supply that was done by the manufacturer to the distributor. Yes. Okay. And there can be another case where, let's say manufacturer has given some extra parts. Okay, let's say manufacturer has given some extra remotes to the distributor for selling, but now a customer comes into picture and he says that I want replacement. So can we say the part is already kept with the distributor? Yes, the part is already kept with the distributor. Now distributor is going to do the replacement for the customer. How will the distributor, from where will the distributor do the replacement for the customer? Can we say from the new stock, of remote which we had already received from the manufacturer? So can we say here the manufacturer will have to issue a credit note. Okay, manufacturer will have to issue a credit note because one of the new remote which it had given to the distributor for selling it, one of the remote which it had given to the distributor for selling it, that the distributor had to give it to the customer for free, right? So distributor is not going to pay any amount for the same, na, because distributor also did not get any money from the customer. From customer to distributor the consideration was zero. So how can the distributor pay it to the manufacturer? So manufacturer will reverse that sale transaction. One new remote sale transaction will be reversed by issuing the credit note. That is given here because we are doing replacement from the new stock. Yes. Okay. And yes, if whenever there is a credit note provision applicable at that time, okay, if you have already studied in the tax invoice chapter, well and good. If you are going to do it ahead, you will come to know whenever we are issuing any debit note or whenever we are issuing any credit note, at that time, the tax liability also gets adjusted, right? Okay. Yes. And now let's go to the last circumstance. The last circumstances, there may be cases where the distributor replaces the goods or its parts to the customer under warranty by using his stock and then raises a request with the manufacturer for the goods. Again, now here, first the distributor is providing the service to whom? First, the distributor is providing the service to the customer. Okay, he is using his own stock and he is providing the service to the customer. This part is done. Okay, here if there is a GST charged, if there is a consideration charge, then GST will be applicable. If no consideration, then no GST. Then the distributor takes that part. Then the distributor takes that part from the manufacturer, and if manufacturer is giving it to the distributor for free, if he is giving it for free, then again there will be no GST paid. Okay, so basically, see, if there is any consideration, the ultimate conclusion is going to remain the same. If there is no consideration involved, then there will be no GST applicable. But if there is a consideration involved, then there will be GST applicable. Yes. Then last two cases. Now, if the distributor provides repair service in addition to replacement, okay, repair service in addition to replacement to the customer without any consideration as a part of warranty on behalf of the manufacturer, but charges the manufacturer for such repair services. Okay, now see, if replacement of parts is done, then above point we have already seen. From where will we get the spare parts, etc., that we have already seen here. This third point was mainly talking about replacement only. Now they are asking, what if along with replacement there is repair services also done? See, for replacement we have already studied. Okay, now what if distributor is providing the repair to the customer? Distributor is providing the repair to the customer for free. Okay, but he is then charging the money. See, ultimately, who would have incurred the expense? The distributor would have incurred the expense. He gave it to the customer for free because it was under warranty. But now he is taking the reimbursement from whom? He is taking the reimbursement from the manufacturer. So, if there is a consideration involved between manufacturer to distributor, then on this transaction, GST will also be applicable because there is a consideration involved. Okay, here we are mainly talking about repair. Okay, here we are mainly talking about repair. Then after that, going to the next one. See, what is the next one? Sometimes companies provide offers of extended warranty. You must have seen now, while purchasing they tell you, see, 1 year warranty is included. You can go with extra additional 2-year warranty and all those things at the time of original supply or just before the expiry of the warranty period, whether GST would be payable in both of these cases. Okay, now see what are they telling. Suppose if we have while purchasing the AC, They had given me normally you will get 1 year warranty, and at that time only they are giving me some offer in which they are giving me plus 2 years warranty, that is extended warranty of plus 2 years. Then in that case this extended warranty, okay, try to understand, this extended warranty will become part of the value because of the composite supply, section number 8. Remember, in composite supply, if I am purchasing AC plus I am taking extended warranty, then my principal supply is going to be AC, right? And along with that, if I am paying something for the, see, obviously you will have to pay something for the extended warranty. Let's say I am purchasing AC of 40,000 and I am purchasing extended warranty of 5,000. Then what will be the rate of GST applicable? On total 45,000, the rate of principal supply, the rate of AC will be applicable on the same. Because why have I taken extended warranty? Because AC was my main supply. Yes, that is given here. Yes, acha. But what if extended warranty is given to me by someone else? It was not given to me by the AC supplier, it was given to me by a third party. If it is given by two different people, then I would have paid 40,000 to someone and I would have paid 5,000 to someone else. Then respective rates of GST will be applicable. Yes, acha. Next case is I am taking extended warranty after my original warranty gets over. Let's say my original warranty was of 1 year, and once this 1 year got over, 1 year khatam hone ke baad, now I am planning to take an extended warranty. Then this will be considered as a separate supply. Okay, this will be considered as what? This will be considered as a separate supply. This cannot be considered as a composite supply. Only when I was taking it with the main supply, then you can call it as a composite supply. Now this is a separate supply. So AC will be different and extended warranty will be considered as a supply of service, and rate of GST on that will be different. Normal, understandable, this much everyone manageable till here. Yes. Okay. Done, done. So this was basically your new circular that was inserted under your supply under GST chapter, which was mainly pertaining to warranty, repairs and replacements which are done under warranty. Manageable? Okay. Okay, so let's start with the next chapter, amendment, that is charge of GST. Only one small amendment is there. In charge of GST chapter, we had studied about RCM provisions. Remember, RCM we had done the list of goods also, and RCM we had done the list of services also. So in services, do you recollect, we had something called as entry number 5AA, residential dwelling. Yes, when there was a renting of residential dwelling done by any person to a registered person. Okay, if any person is renting a residential property to any registered person, then in that case they had told that we don't want to take any risk and the RCM provisions will be applicable. That is, the registered person will be liable to pay the tax on the same. But that provision was specifically applicable for residential dwelling. Right now, they have inserted one specific point, that is your entry number 5AB, which is talking about commercial property, that is any immovable property other than residential dwelling. Other than residential dwelling, so we can take the example of a commercial property, and here they are telling that if any unregistered person, okay, if let's say any unregistered person who is not registered under GST, let's say such a person is having a commercial property and that person is giving that commercial property on rent to a registered person. Can we say commercial property used for doing business, and this person is going to earn rentals, good rentals out of it? And if he is an unregistered person, then this is going to be a loss of revenue to the government. So what are they telling? If unregistered person is renting this commercial property to a registered person, then also reverse charge provisions will be applicable, and this registered person will be liable to he will be paying the rentals to that unregistered person. That matter is over, and after that he is required to pay the tax to the government. After paying the tax to the government, he can take the ITC of the same. Right? So new point added under this charge of GST, that is entry number 5AB. I hope I'm very clear, very simple and very logical. Yes, this was the addition in your charge of GST chapter. Yes. Okay. Okay, so let's start with the next chapter amendments, that is exemptions from GST. Let's try to understand. Very, very simple amendments, very small amendments. Now, there are few entries which have been amended and there are few entries which have been added. Okay, let's deal with each of them one by one. Okay, so now do you recollect we had one of the entry called as educational institution? Yes, in your textbook, please come to that educational institution point. Yes, in educational institution, do you recollect we had three types of educational institution? Yes, three types of educational institution was there. First one was from preschool to higher secondary school. That was the first one. Next one was any such educational institution which is providing any qualification which is recognized by law. And third one was that vocational educational course. In that, there is a small change that is done. Do you recollect? Approved vocational educational course means any course which is run by ITI or ITC. ITI stands for Industrial Training Institute or Industrial Training Center, which is affiliated to, earlier we had a council called as NCVT. Okay, now they have just changed the name, that is affiliated to National Council for Vocational Education and Training. That is NCVET. Instead of NCVT, it is now NCVET. So wherever we had this NCVT, there we are going to replace it with NCVET. That is one of the small amendments in your education institution. Nothing is going to change. Everything under your education institution is going to remain the same, just that this small thing needs to be changed. I hope I'm very, very clear with this. Okay, so this, just make this correction or just make this amendment in your book, not correction. Yes, if you have the third edition book and onwards, then anyway it is done in your book. Otherwise, just do this change. Yes, okay. Then after that, new entry, entry number 66A. Okay, just below your educational institution, because it is related to educational institution. That's why just below your educational institution, there is one more new entry, one new entry that has been introduced. Let's try to do that particular entry. Okay, so now entry number 66A, it basically talks about affiliation services. Okay, affiliation services. Now here, what are they trying to say? Do you understand a particular board? Okay, educational board, state board, central board, Maharashtra board, Gujarat board, Chennai board, Tamil Nadu board, etc. Do you understand that? Yes. Okay. So now, let's say any particular central board or any state board, okay, educational board I am talking about, any central educational board or any state educational board, etc. That is the main board, okay, which decides the syllabus, which is to be learned by the, which is to be studied by the students, etc. Within this board gives affiliation to many schools, colleges, etc. Right, it gives affiliation services. Affiliation services means what? Let's say for example, let's talk about my state. I'm talking about my state, that is the state of Maharashtra. Okay, so Maharashtra also has its own Maharashtra Educational Board. Okay, this is the board which conducts the examinations and all those. Now within Maharashtra there will be many schools, right? There will be many schools which will be affiliated to Maharashtra Educational Board, right? Means these schools are following the syllabus. These schools are following the syllabus, they are following the orders which is given by the Maharashtra Educational Board. Okay, now there are certain boards, okay, there are certain schools which are not affiliated to this Maharashtra Educational Board, possible. Okay, there will be certain schools, etc., which are not affiliated. So now, ma'am, what is the benefit of getting affiliated, etc.? So if my school, okay, if my school is affiliated to Maharashtra Educational Board, then in that case, Maharashtra Educational Board will check whether my school has proper infrastructure or not, whether my school's financial position is good or not, whether my school is following the proper syllabus or not, and then these schools also get, okay, these schools can also conduct multiple courses. If I am affiliated, then my school can conduct multiple courses which are notified by the Maharashtra Educational Board. Plus it also gets some subsidy, plus it also gets some financial assistance whenever required, and all those help. Okay, See, it is not nothing relating to admission of students, etc. No. But if I am affiliated to a board, okay, if I am affiliated to a board, then that board is going to check whether my school's infrastructure is proper or not, whether my school is having proper teachers or not, proper qualification teachers or not. And if yes, then my school can start following, my school can start following. I can say, okay, my school can say that we are affiliated to Maharashtra Educational Board, and that builds a confidence, that builds a faith in the parents also. Okay, that okay, my child is going to a school which is affiliated to a state. Okay, so now, ma'am, why are we talking about all these things under GST? So this is because Maharashtra Educational Board provides, okay, it provides affiliation services. Okay, it provides affiliation services for which the school is required to pay the consideration, one-time consideration to the, either one time or yearly once, that way. Okay, it is going to pay the consideration to the board. Okay, who is providing the affiliation service? Maharashtra Educational Board or any state educational board or any central educational board is providing the affiliation service for which the consideration is paid by these schools. So now we are going to talk about its taxability. Okay, now we are going to talk about its taxability. See, what are they telling us here? Services of affiliation provided by central or state educational board or council or any similar body. Okay, central board, state board, etc. by whatever name called. To whom? To whom? To a school which is established, owned or controlled by which school? By central, the school which is controlled or owned by central government, state government, union territory, local authority, governmental authority or government entity. Means affiliation services will be exempted. See, we are doing exemption chapter and we are doing entry number 66A, means we are talking about exemption cases. So now in this case, when Maharashtra Educational Board or any central educational board is providing these affiliation services to a government-owned school, not to private school, only to a state government, central government, union territory, governmental authority owned schools, then these services will be totally exempted. Otherwise, it will be totally taxable. Okay. So see what how we have summarized it here. Entry number 66A, affiliation provided by university to colleges, to colleges. Colleges were nowhere there into the picture because only schools were there into the picture. Here, only schools were there. So this is going to, this is going to be taxable. Okay. Similarly, affiliation provided by central and state educational board to other schools. Other schools means we are talking about private schools. Then even that will be taxable. So only what will be exempted? Affiliation services provided to government schools. Okay, affiliation services provided to government schools, that will be totally exempted. To colleges will be fully taxable. To other schools will be fully taxable. Yes, I have also included now because this amendment is applicable. So now I have also included this in the third edition book, and here you can just write, okay, when given to colleges, then it is going to be taxable. When it is given to other schools, okay, when it is given to other schools, then in that case, that is private schools, then also it is going to be taxable. So ma'am, what is exempted? When this services of affiliation is provided by this board, central or state board, to whom? To government schools. Okay, to government schools only, then it is going to be exempted. Otherwise, it is going to be fully taxed. I hope I am very clear till here. Yes. So this was your next amendment in your exemption chapter. Can we go ahead? Yes. Okay. Then after that, going to the next one, entry number 9E. Okay, entry number 9E. Acha, before entry number 9E, we can do one more entry, that is entry number 69, which is again I have put it in educational services only. Entry number 69, everyone, in your educational services only. We already had one entry number 69. I will show it to you what was there earlier if you have studied. I don't know if you recollect this or not. Any services provided by NSDC or SSC, skill development programs, etc. Okay, this was there in your educational as entry number 69. This entire entry number 69 has been replaced. Okay, this has been replaced, and in your third edition book and onwards, I have put the new entry. Okay, in the amendment notes also it is available. This entry is replaced. I have written. Okay, so here, when any services are provided by NSDC, that is same National Skill Development Corporation, which is this thing, a corporation which is set up by the government, or by NCVET, that National Council for Vocational Education and Training, or any awarding body which is recognized by NCVET, or any assessment agency recognized by NCVET, or any trading body accredited with an awarding body that is recognized by NCVT. Means when there are any such skill development type of services provided by NSDC or provided by NCVET or affiliated. Okay, what type of programs are they providing, or what type of skill development services are they providing? That is in relation to national skill development program, vocational skill development program, or any national skill qualification framework, where they are giving you certain skills, where they are enhancing certain skills, where they are giving you certain qualifications. Whenever these are nothing but what? These are nothing but the associations, institutions, corporations which are set up by the government of India, and government says that we will bring some skill development programs. That is, you can come, you can take the training with us, and you will, you can enhance certain of your skills, and then you will be eligible to get a job or something like that. So whenever these services are provided by these people, NSDC, NCVET, etc., then it is going to be totally exempt. Are you clear with this? Okay, so this was not a very difficult entry, very simple entry actually it was. So this was your entry number 69, which has got replaced. Yes. Okay, then after that, in your come to your we'll go back. Come to entry number. This is a new entry that was inserted, entry number 9E. Okay, entry number 9E and entry number 9F. Let's go to that. Yes. In your textbook, we had a heading called as services provided by government. Okay, services provided. We had two. One was services provided by government, another one was services provided to government. So first come in services provided by government. Okay, in that we had the series of entry number 9, 9C, 9D, etc. In that I have added two entries, entry number 9E and entry number 9F. Entry number 9E and entry number 9F. Same thing I'm showing you from the amendment notes also. So what is the addition here? Entry number 9E says that when services are provided by Ministry of Railways. Okay, when services are provided by Ministry of Railways, Indian Railways, to individuals. Okay, now see, one is transportation of passenger service, another one is transportation of goods service. We are not talking about that. Now here, which services are they talking about? They are talking about platform tickets. Okay, whenever we go to drop someone, or whenever we have any whenever we go to the railway platform, we cannot go without ticket unless we are traveling. Okay, if you are traveling, then you should be having the travel ticket. But let's say I have gone to drop my parents at the railway station, then even I will have to take a platform ticket from the counter. So on that platform ticket, GST is exempted. Okay, similarly, retiring rooms, waiting rooms are there at the railway stations, cloakroom services where I can keep my luggage if my train is delayed or if I've arrived early at the station. And similarly, battery operated car services which they generally provide to senior citizens, handicapped persons, special persons, etc. For that they charge certain amount, right? For whatever amount they charge, on that GST is going to be totally exempt. Okay, so these are the services provided by whom? These are the services provided by Ministry of Railways to any individual, then those services will be totally exempted from GST. This has been added in entry number 9. I hope I'm very clear with this. Very simple. Yes. Okay. And one more entry that is added here is entry number 9F. In your textbook, I have added just below entry number 9E itself. In entry number 9F, services provided by one zone or division under Ministry of Railways to another zone or division under Ministry of Railways. So now Ministry of Railways totally comes under central government. right? Within this, there will be multiple divisions. Yes, there will be, like for example, there can be a western division, western zone. Okay, there can be a southern zone also. So if services are provided by one zone to another, one division to another, between the government itself, then it is going to be any type of services. Okay, any type of services, then GST is going to be totally exempt. I hope I am very clear till here. Yes, simple. So inter-division or inter-zone services provided by one division to another division, GST, any services, okay, any services, that will be totally exempted. And this one, normal platform ticket sale, or retiring room services, cloakroom services, battery EV car, which is there at the railway station for, if someone cannot walk, etc. For that, whatever consideration they are charging on that, GST is going to be totally exempt. Yes, simple, manageable till here. ठीक. Okay. Then after that, let's go ahead to the next amendment. In the same heading, in services provided by government, in the same heading, you will find one more new entry that is inserted, that is entry number 25A. Okay, come to entry number 25A. Yes, here it is, entry number 25A. Okay. Okay. Entry number 25A, again, supply of services by way of providing metering equipment on rent, testing for meters, transformers, capacitors, etc., releasing electricity connection, shifting of meter or service line, issuing duplicate bills, etc., which are incidental or ancillary to supply and distribution of electricity, will be totally exempted. Okay, now see, here we already had entry number 25. Okay, we already had entry number 25 uh, in our syllabus, where we had studied transmission and distribution of electricity. Transmission and distribution of electricity, on that GST is going to be exempted. But then they had told that some extra charges, okay, some extra charges, like testing fees, labor charges for shifting of meters, etc., charges for duplicate bills, etc., this was earlier liable to GST. Okay, this was earlier liable to GST. Now what they have done is they have inserted a new entry, that is entry number 25A, where they are telling that whenever they are doing any testing, okay, ancillary related services, when they are doing any meter testing services, or whenever they are providing you any transformer testing services or capacitor testing services, okay, or when they are doing some shifting of meter services, they are doing shifting of meter from one place to another, if they are providing such services, okay, if they are issuing duplicate bills now, okay, if they are issuing duplicate bills, etc., then in such cases, these services will be totally exempted. So now they are telling any ancillary services, okay, related to transmission or transmission and distribution of electricity, related to these, if they are providing you any services, even that is going to be exempted from GST. So can we say this note, okay, this note of entry number 25, this becomes now irrelevant. Okay, this note of entry number 25. So entry number 25 will be restricted to transmission and distribution of electricity by electricity companies. That is going to be totally exempted. And even ancillary services provided by this distribution companies, transmission and distribution companies, even those will be now exempted under GST under entry number 25. Okay, that was another amendment that is coming here. Okay, then after that, going to the next one, yes, services provided to government. Come to the point called as next one, next heading, services provided to government. Okay, now in this case, see the diagram here, entry number 44A. Now, if there are any research and development services, okay, research and development services means someone is doing research and development for me. Okay, if there are certain research and development services provided by whom? Okay, when it is provided by a government entity or it is provided by any research association, university, college or other institution which is notified under section 35 of the Income Tax Act. Okay, now I don't know how many of you all will be able to recollect, but just try in your direct taxes, in your income taxes, you had a third head of income, that is PGBP, profits or gains from business or profession. In that you had one of the section, that is section number 35, scientific association, scientific research association, etc. What was the work of those associations? To do scientific research. So when any government entity or when any such research association is providing such services to the government, okay, when they are providing certain services to the government, what services? They are doing research and development for government, and government is going to pay them the consideration which is going to be in form of grants, okay, which is going to be in form of donations, which is going to be in form of grants, etc. Then on this amount GST is going to be totally exempt. Okay, on this amount the GST is going to be totally exempted provided all these conditions gets fulfilled. Who should be the service provider? Government entity or that notified scientific association should be the service provider. They are providing the services to the government, and government in return is giving the consideration which is going to be in form of grants. On that GST is going to be exempted, but with one condition, that research association, university, college, whichever is notified under section number 35 should be notified. Okay, it should be a notified association institution at the time of supply. Means whenever they are doing this research and development service, or whenever they are providing the research and development service, at that time such association or university should be a notified one. Then in that case, the benefit that you're going to get under GST is going to be totally exempted on this. Yes, this was which entry number? This was entry number 44A. Okay, this was entry number 44A that we have just now completed. Okay, let's go ahead to the next one. Okay, coming to the next one, that is GTA services, goods transportation services. Everyone in your textbook, please come to goods transportation service. Goods transportation service. There is a circular that is added in this GTA services. Let's try to understand. It is very, very simple actually. Okay, now the circular that was added is, just try to understand. Okay, when we did this goods transportation services, do you recollect we studied about courier services also? And in some cases, GTA services will be taxable under forward charge, some it will be taxable under reverse charge, some will be exempted, etc. Okay, so now what are they telling us here basically is, see, main work of GTA is to provide the transportation service. Right, main work of GTA is to provide the transportation service, and taxability of that we have already studied. Okay, taxability of that we have already studied. We had done this under RCM chapter also. Okay, now nothing is going to change in that. Now what they are telling us by way of a circular here is, if GTA is providing some ancillary services also, like loading service, okay, goods loading service, goods unloading service, or something like that, packing service, if GTA is providing these services along with transportation service, then can we say this loading or unloading will be considered as composite supply? Yes, this entire thing will be considered as composite supply. So what will be the tax effect? Now I am giving you the hint. If this will be considered as a composite supply, what will be the tax effect of this loading and unloading service? So can we say the same taxability as is applicable to the principal supply? If your transportation will be considered as principal supply, so if principal supply is taxable, then even this will be taxable at same rate. If principal supply is exempted, then even this is going to be exempt, right? Okay, but what if such services are not provided in the course of transportation? Means GTA did not provide the transportation service, but GTA only provided the loading unloading services. Then it will be separately taxable. Then no doubt in that at all. Then it is going to be separately taxed. Normal, manageable. Yes, okay, that is the circular which we have added here. Okay. Then after that, let's go ahead to the next one. Going to the next one, that is entry number 12, renting of immovable property related services. Let's go to this one. Renting of immovable property related services. Two things we have to do here, and important also. In your amendment sheet, there is entry number 12 and entry number 12A. And if you're there in your textbook, then please come to renting of immovable property related services. Yes. Okay. So now this renting of immovable property related services, this is nothing new. We had already covered this. Okay. We had already covered this. This was where they had told us that if residential dwelling which is used as residence, if that is rented, then in that case, on its own account for personal use, etc., then in that case, it was totally exempted from GST. Okay, in both the cases, when it is given to a registered person also and when it is given to an unregistered person also, in both the cases it will be exempted. But if it was given for commercial purpose, then it was taxable. If it was given for a residential use, but we were claiming it as an expense in our books of account for business purpose, basically, if it was given, then also it is going to be taxable. Right? This is what we had studied. Now, in that, there is one explanation that is added, that is explanation number 2. Okay, here, can you see this? Explanation number 2, newly inserted in entry number 12. Now, what is that explanation? It is very, very simple. Basically, they are telling that this entire entry, that is this entire point of entry number 12 is not applicable for accommodation services. For accommodation services which is provided by hostels, camp, paying PG accommodations, or for students in the student residence. See, here, what are they trying to tell us here is, if hostels, camps, PG, etc., if they are providing such accommodation services, even that is for residents. Okay, so please do not include it in entry number 12. Okay, ma'am, why should we not include it in entry number 12? Because they have introduced a new entry for the same. Okay, so please exclude these accommodation services. Okay, temporary accommodation services. Please exclude these accommodation services from entry number 12. Okay, please exclude. Ma'am, why to exclude? Why to exclude these from entry number 12? Because for that separately we have got entry number 12. I hope I'm very, very clear with this. Okay, that is the explanation that is inserted for entry number 12. Now let's go and understand what do you mean by entry number 12A. Okay, or what is put in entry number 12A. So in entry number 12A, what are they telling us here? Supply of accommodation services having value of supply, accommodation services, which is provided for students, okay, or which is provided by hostels, which is provided by camps, which is provided by PG, etc., whose value is less than or equal to 20,000 rupees per month per person. Okay, value of supply is less than or equal to 20,000 rupees per person per month, provided that accommodation service is supplied for a minimum continuous period of 90 days. Okay, so here, what are the conditions to be fulfilled? First of all, it should be accommodation services. Okay, how do you differentiate accommodation? See, whenever we talk about rental, generally rental is like 11 months agreement, 1 year agreement, 3 years agreement, etc. Okay, accommodation services is like kind of temporary. Okay, it is kind of temporary. So if there is a service provider who is providing accommodation services to students or to any other person, then in that case, whether it will be taxable or whether it will be exempted, it depends upon certain condition. First of all, value of supply, that is the charges that you are charging should be less than or equal to 20,000 per month. Okay, per person, less than or equal to 20,000 per month, and you should be giving them this for a continuous period of at least how many days? For a minimum continuous period of at least 90 days, and per month consideration that you are charging should be less than or equal to 20,000 per month. If all of these conditions are getting fulfilled, then in that case it is going to be exempted. Okay, let's say you have given hostel accommodation services, let's say for 30 days only. Okay, irrespective of 20,000 per month, it is going to be taxable. I hope you are understanding this. Yes, similarly, let's say you are giving hostel accommodation or camp service, camp accommodation service for 6 long months. Okay, that is more than 90 days time period. And if the consideration is also less than or equal to 20,000 per month, then in that case, again, it is going to be totally exempt. Yes. Okay. So you have to check these conditions. You have to check these conditions, and accordingly, you'll have to decide whether it is taxable or whether it is exempted. And yes, please remove accommodation services from the above entry. Okay. Please remove it from above entry. Accommodation services are not at all included in entry number 12. Okay. So if what is the relevance of that? Relevance of that is if it comes under entry number 12A, then it is going to be exempted. If it does not come under entry number 12A, then it is going to be fully taxable. Are you understanding this? Yes? Check. Okay, so this was your entry number 12A. This is also done. Okay. Then after that, going to the next one, come to the next heading. Please come to the next entry, that is insurance business services and pension related services. Insurance business services and pension related services, where we had seen different lists and types of insurances, life insurance, general insurance, and all those. In that, there is a new entry added. Okay, there is a new entry added, that is entry number 36A. Entry number 36A. Above entry number 36A means earlier we had entry number 35, which was talking about general insurance, entry number 36, which was talking about life insurance. Yes. Now see what are they telling us here. Services by way of reinsurance of insurance schemes. Okay, reinsurance of insurance schemes specified in serial number 35, 36, 40, etc. Now, first of all, some reinsurance services are going to be totally exempted. This is what they are telling us. Okay, ma'am, what do you mean by reinsurance first of all? Okay, what do you mean by reinsurance? Okay, now let's say, for example, there is a person who goes to, let's say, any insurance company. Okay, let's say he goes to SBI. SBI also has its own insurance company. Yes, there is a person who goes to SBI and says that I want insurance of 50 crore rupees. SBI will be like, okay, 50 crore rupees. So SBI says that, okay, if you want insurance of 50 crore rupees, then in that case, you will have to pay a good premium. This person says that, okay, I am ready to pay that good premium. Okay. Now imagine this person has the capacity to pay that premium. Okay. But if, let's take the example of life insurance. What if something happens to this person? What if something happens to this person? Then can I say SBI will be liable to pay that 50 crore to his legal hire, to his nominee, etc., whoever is there? So SBI says that how can I take such a big risk? I cannot take such a big risk. So SBI takes the reinsurance. Okay, SBI takes the reinsurance from another company, from another insurance company. Let's say SBI goes to ICICI and tells to ICICI that I have a big customer available with me, but who wants to take insurance of 50 crore rupees. So now, can we say SBI plus ICICI both jointly together, they are going to insure this person? Yes. So can I say SBI has passed on some risk to ICICI also? This concept is called as what? This concept is called as reinsurance. Okay, this concept is called as reinsurance. Okay. Now, see, premium will be paid by whom to whom? Premium will be paid by this person to SBI. And SBI will also have to share some premium with ICICI. Yeah, ICICI is also jointly taking the risk, na? So it should also get some amount of premium. All these things come under the concept of reinsurance. Are you able to understand this? Yes, so these services, can we say your reinsurance services are provided? Your reinsurance services are provided by ICICI, for which it is going to get some premium also. So this reinsurance services is going to be totally exempt. Yes, it is going to be totally exempted from GST. Yes, so whichever schemes you have studied above under general insurance, and whichever schemes you have studied above under life insurance, whatever name of yojana or whatever name of scheme is covered here, if you do a normal insurance, then also GST is exempted, and reinsurance under these schemes are also GST exempt. I hope you are understanding this. Yes, that is written here in entry number 36. Yes. Okay, I think we are good to go for the time being. Yes, okay. So all these were your major amendments in the exemption chapter. Manageable till here? Yes. Okay. Please expect some more the other question from exemption amendments. Huh? You can definitely expect any question from amendments part. Okay. Okay, so let's take up the next amendment. Next, I have come to the chapter that is place of supply chapter amendment. Yes, in this place of supply chapter, basic first section, that was section number 10, where we were discussing about place of supply in case of goods, and that too domestic transactions, not import export transactions. In that section number 10(1)(ca). Okay, 10(1)(ca) already was a new section where we had studied that if an unregistered person goes to another state, okay, let's say a person from Maharashtra goes to a shop in Croma. I am an unregistered person. I am from Maharashtra. I go to Croma shop, let's say in Chennai, and I purchase something from there. Then what will be the place of supply? Right? What will be the place of supply? My actual place is Maharashtra, but I am doing the purchases in the state of Chennai. So what will that Croma store put in the invoice? Will it charge CGST, SGST, or will it charge IGST, etc.? That is the question. So the solution there was given under section number 10(1)(ca), that if my location, if that unregistered person's address is mentioned in the invoice, then that location will be considered as place of supply. And if my Maharashtra address is not recorded in the invoice, then the location of the supplier will become the place of supply. This we had studied. Now to that section itself, okay, to that section number 10(1)(ca) itself, they have added one more circular which was made applicable from June 2024, which I have put here in the amendment notes also. Don't worry, same thing. Okay, same thing is put here in the amendment notes also. Now here they are telling that, let's say any e-commerce platform. Okay, let's say we are buying something from Amazon. Okay, let's say you people like you and me, etc., we are buying something from Amazon. Okay, Amazon is doing the supply. Amazon is, let's say, doing the supply to any unregistered person. Okay, to any small kid or like people like you and me, unregistered person. Okay, and there in you must have seen in Amazon there are two options. One is something called as billing address. Okay, that is generally permanent in my profile. And another one is something called as shipping address. Have you noticed something like this? Billing address and shipping address, etc. Have you noticed something like this? Yes. Now, can there be a possibility? Can there be a possibility that billing address and shipping address, okay, billing address and shipping address are different? Can there be a possibility? Okay, when I created my profile, I was settled in Mumbai, but now I want to get some goods in, let's say, Rajasthan. So I'm putting the shipping address as Rajasthan, and Amazon does the delivery. Amazon does the delivery. So what will be the place of supply? That is the question here. What will be the place of supply? So what are they telling us here is, see, as per section 10(1)(ca), what did we just now study? As per section number 10(1)(ca), what did we study? Whatever address is recorded in the invoice. Okay, whatever address is recorded in the invoice, that address will be considered. But now, if you have seen Amazon's invoice, they write both the address. They write billing address also, and they write the delivery address or shipping address also. So now, and in that billing address and shipping address, if the states are different, okay, if the states are different, then in that case, what will be the place of supply? So see, what are they telling? Where the billing address and delivery address are different, the supplier may record the delivery address as the address of the recipient. So if there is a difference between billing address and if there is a difference between shipping address is nothing but your delivery address, then which address will be considered as the main one? The shipping address, the shipping where the goods are actually getting shipped, that place will be considered as the place of supply. I hope I'm very, very clear with this, everyone. Yes. Okay. So what we studied in 10.1 CA is the address which is recorded in the invoice. I've written here. The address which is recorded in the invoice is relevant. But what if billing address as well as delivery address both are recorded? Then delivery address will be considered as the main address for the purpose of place of supply. I hope I'm very, very clear till here, everyone. Yes. Okay. Done, 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 done. Okay, so let's go to the next circular, next clarification, which belongs to the time of supply chapter, which has been newly added. So in time of supply, this circular which they have added, this pertains to services. Okay, this pertains to services. I will just show it to you. So this is the circular number 221/15/2024 dated 26th June 2024. This mainly talks about your projects relating to highway and all those things, construction of road, maintenance of roads and those things. Okay, very simple, very, very simple. Let's try to understand. First of all, this is considered as a service, right? If this is considered as a service, then in that case we will have to go to section number 13, right? Section number 12 was talking about time of supply in case of goods, and section number 13 is talking about time of supply of services. I hope you recollect this part. Yes. So section number 13.2 was talking about normal forward charge, time of supply of services under forward charge and all those things. Let's try to understand what is this. Now this is again a clarification, no new concept added here. Yes, there is no new concept added here. Let's try to understand. Now, clarification on time of supply in respect of supply of services. Services means we know section number 13 is applicable, of construction of road and maintenance. Means the service provider is going to provide two services. One is construction of road, plus after constructing to maintain the roads also, thereof of the National Highway projects of NHAI in hybrid annuity model. Okay, now National Highway Authority of India, we know that is a government entity. Now it is going to give some contract. Okay, it is going to give some contract to a person to construct some roads and to maintain it also. Okay, now for this purpose, try to understand. Now hybrid annuity mode model of NHAI, under this model, the concessionaire means the person who got the contract has to construct the new road and provide operation and maintenance. Means his work is not only to do the construction, after doing the construction, road बनाने के बाद में उसको maintain भी करना है. Okay, of the same, which is generally over a period of 15 to 17 years, and payment of the same is spread over the years. So basically, NHAI, this person is providing the service to the NHAI, right? This concessionaire is providing the service to the NHAI, and this is two type of service. One is the construction service also, plus another one is the maintenance service also, for which NHAI is going to pay the consideration to that concessionaire. Okay, now this consideration is not going to be a one-time consideration. This is going to be paid in installments over a period of number of years. Now they are asking, what will be the time of supply? What will be the time of supply in this circumstance? Okay, so first thing that they are making us understand here is, this is not only a construction service that once you construct the work is over. No, it is not only construction service. Here the concessionaire is responsible for two things. One is to construct the road first, and after that even to maintain it for some number of years. Okay, that they are trying to make us understand in the first two paragraphs. Okay, so now since the consideration is spread over installments, okay, since the consideration is spread over installments, maybe you can give the answer under continuous supply of services. Remember, we had this continuous supply of services coming up here in section number 31.5, that when should the invoice be issued in case of continuous supply of services. Okay, maybe you can give the answer, means it appears that it should come under that. Okay, so they have given us a proper clarification. See what is the clarification here. This is the final one. It is clarified that the tax liability, that is the time of supply, on the concessioner under the HAM contract, including the construction portion, would arise at, now it would arise as per section number 13.2. Okay, as per section number 13.2 means they are telling it will arise as per this. That is as if it is supply of service under forward charge. Okay, as if it is supply of service. Who is the service provider here? Who is the service? Can we say this concessioner is the service provider? He is providing the service to NHAI. So he will raise the invoice on the NHAI, then NHAI will do the payment. And what was the provision? What was the provision as per section number 13.2? So if the invoice is issued on time, then the date of invoice or receipt of payment, whichever is earlier. And if the invoice is issued late, then the date of provision of service or receipt of payment, whichever is earlier. So that's what they have written here. If the, see here, it would arise. I will highlight it so that you can understand this. It would arise at the time of issue of invoice or receipt of payment, whichever is earlier, if the invoice is issued on or before the specified date. Okay, and if the invoice is not issued on or before the specified date or before the completion of the event specified in the contract, the tax liability would arise on the date of provision of the said service or receipt of payment, whichever is earlier. Okay, now here, if you are taking it as continuous supply of services, when should the invoice be issued? Can we say whatever is the date decided? Okay, whatever, let's say they would have decided that every 6 monthly we will raise the, so whenever that milestone event is completed, at that time the invoice should be issued. So if the invoice is issued on time, then the date of invoice or receipt of payment, whichever is earlier. If the invoice is not issued on time, then the date of provision of service. Okay, date of provision of service, that is whatever is the due date, final due date that you had already decided in the contract, or receipt of payment, whichever is earlier. Are you understanding this? Yes? Okay. So this is what they are trying to tell us here, that whenever there is this road construction contracts, etc., which is spread across many number of years, okay, when it is spread across many number of years, then in such a case, your this thing, what will be the, how do we determine the time of supply? So it looks like it is continuous supply of service. So as per the provisions of continuous supply of service, as per section number 31.5, as you can see it here in your textbook, as per section number 31.5, your invoice, depending upon the due dates that were written in the contract, depending upon that the invoice should be issued. And if the invoice is issued on time, as per section 13.2, find out the time of supply. If the invoice is issued late, then again as per section number 13.2, find out the time of supply. Very simple. Yes, manageable, everyone. Okay. Okay, let's start with the amendments of the next chapter, your big chapter, that is input tax credit. Yes, uh, we'll do it one by one. Okay, first come to section number 16.4. Come to section number 16, subsection 4. We will take up the amendment relating to that. 16.4 was talking about the time limit for availing the ITC. Time limit for availing the ITC. That November, 30th November, that point. Please come to that point, everyone. Yes. I hope you are there with section number 16.4 in your textbook, everyone. Yes. So in section number 16.4, what we had studied was whenever we are purchasing something subject to section number 16, 17, etc., we are allowed to avail the ITC. If all the conditions are fulfilled, we can avail the ITC, and the time limit for availing the ITC is 30th November of the next financial year, or filing the annual return, whichever is earlier. Okay, the date of filing of the relevant year's annual return, whichever is earlier. I hope you can recollect. We had certain examples, etc. also on the same. Now in that, there is a circular that is added. Okay, same circular dated 26th June 2024, that is being added there. Let's try to understand what is that circular. Basically, this circular is applicable for RCM cases. Okay, reverse charge mechanism cases. Now, in RCM, I hope you can recollect. Let's say if there is an unregistered supplier. Okay, there is a person who is supplying some this thing, and that person is supplying to a registered person, and that transaction is covered under RCM. Yes, that transaction will come under reverse charge mechanism. That is, the supplier is not required. The supplier is not required to collect any GST because he is unregistered, but the registered recipient is required to pay the GST on the same. After paying the GST on the same, it can take the ITC of the same. Okay, now, but for taking the ITC, can we say invoice is required? Yes, again I will repeat, this registered recipient will pay the GST. After paying the GST, it will take the ITC on the same, and then, but whenever we are taking the ITC, we need the invoice. So your proper tax invoice will be issued by whom to whom? Proper tax invoice. Proper tax invoice can be issued only by a registered person, right? So what will be the time limit? What will be the time limit for this registered recipient to avail the ITC? The time limit will depend upon issuing of this invoice. Okay, normally it depends on the invoice which is issued by the supplier. If everything is normal, who will issue the invoice to whom? Supplier will issue the invoice to the recipient, but this is the case of RCM. So tax invoice can be issued only by the, in this case, tax invoice can be issued only by the registered recipient to the unregistered supplier. So whenever this invoice is issued, depending upon that, section 16(4) will apply. Okay, if this invoice was issued on time, okay, if this invoice was issued on time and the tax was paid to the government on time, etc., then 16(4) will apply. That is the year in which the invoice is issued by the recipient. Again, I'll repeat, the year in which the invoice is issued by the registered recipient succeeding year's 30th November or the date of filing the annual return, whichever is earlier, that will be the time limit for availing the IT. Achha, what if this person issues the invoice late? What if the recipient issues the invoice late? If this is the case of RCM now, and we have already studied in time of supply chapter, as per section number 31, there is a time limit for issuing the invoice. What if the invoice is issued late? Then in that case, this recipient will be liable to pay the tax. Still, it will be liable to pay the tax. Plus, it will have to pay the interest also on that late payment of tax. Are you understanding? So, see what are they telling us here? It is clarified that in case supplies are received from unregistered suppliers, where tax has to be paid by the recipient under reverse charge mechanism, and where invoice is to be issued by the recipient, okay, the relevant financial year for calculation of time limit of ITC will be the financial year in which the invoice has been issued by the recipient. Okay, now in section number 16(4), what did they say? What did they say? 30th November of the succeeding financial year. Which financial year? That financial year in which the invoice is issued. Okay, that financial year in which the invoice is issued. Invoice is issued by whom? In case of forward charge mechanism, it is issued by the supplier. But in case of reverse charge mechanism, it is issued by the recipient. Are you clear with this? And if the recipient issues the invoice late, then he will be required to pay the interest. Okay, plus because he is delaying the issue of invoice, he will be liable to some penal action under section 122 also. Are you understanding? So 16(4) is basically applicable. 16(4) is basically applicable to FCM also, and 16(4) is applicable to RCM also. In FCM, invoice will be issued by the supplier. Okay, and in RCM, invoice will be issued by the recipient. Are you clear with this? Yes. So that was one of the circular. That is relevant for section number 16(4). I hope this much is manageable. Okay, one amendment done. Okay, one amendment of ITC is done pertaining to section number 16(4). Yes? Okay. Now, directly come to section number 17.5, that blocked credits. Come to section number 17.5. Yes. And in 17.5 also, come to 17.5D, the fourth point, self-construction of immovable property. You can see it on the board. I have taken the notes. I have taken out the notes. 17.5D, self-construction of immovable property. Please come to that. In fact, it can be related to 17.5C also and 17.5D also. 17.5C, the just above point, the third point in section 17.5, which was talking about works contract services for construction of immovable property. Do you recollect this? Whenever we were constructing any immovable property and if we have taken works contract service, except for the builder, developers, etc., then in that case, ITC will not be available when the expenses are capitalized in the books of accounts. Do you recollect something like that? And that was related to immovable property. And then in that we had studied the meaning of immovable property and there were certain exceptions, etc., coming up in that. Yes, and we had come up with a conclusion. I don't know if you recollect or not. In that we had come up with a term called as plant and machinery. Yes, plant and machinery was allowed as an exception. Do you recollect this? Any works contract services that we have taken for construction of plant and machinery, that was allowed as exception, and in that any apparatus, any equipment, any machinery which was affixed to the earth, okay, by foundation or structural supports, etc., that was allowed. Okay, this part was allowed, but land, building, telecommunication tower, pipeline laid outside factory premises, this was excluded. So this was blocked. Do you recollect something like this? Yes, so normal plant and machinery allowed, okay, but land, building, civil structures, telecommunication towers and pipelines which are laid outside the factory premises, these were totally blocked. This is what we had studied. So now we have got a clarification. And similarly, in the C clause, we were availing works contract services. In the D1, we are doing self-construction of that immovable property. Everything remained the same. The allowability and blocked thing, everything remained the same. Now, for these two clauses, for clause C and clause D, there was a clarification that was added. Now, here they are telling very simple clarification. They are asking, what about the ITC? What about the ITC on ducts and manholes? Okay, on ducts and manholes, which is used in network of optical fiber cables in terms of section number 17.5. Okay, now whenever the companies are providing telecommunication services, okay, whenever the companies are providing telecommunication services, and when they are laying this optical fiber cables, okay, cables, etc., when they are laying in the ground, etc., for providing you the telecommunication services, at that time they need to make some ducts and they need to make some manholes. These are basic necessity as per their business requirement. Okay, so now when ducts and manholes, okay, when these ducts and manholes are made, now the question arises. See, whenever we are making any telecommunication tower, as per these words, everyone here, whenever we are constructing any telecommunication tower, that was excluded from plant and machinery. Okay, excluded from plant and machinery means it was totally blocked. Now they are not telling that they are constructing a telecommunication tower. They are going to provide telecommunication services only. But they are making some ducts, or they are making use of some ducts or manholes. Okay, if they are making use of some ducts and manholes, now they are asking, what about its ITC? Okay, what about the ITC on the same? So see, what are they telling us here? Moreover, ducts and manholes used in network in this optical fiber cables have not been specifically excluded from plant and machinery. Plant and machinery included everything, but except for these things. And ducts and manholes are not excluded. So can we say simple language, ducts and manholes will be considered as plant and machinery? If it will be considered as plant and machinery, then can we say ITC on the same is going to be allowed and it will not be restricted? Okay, had it been telecommunication tower, then blocked. Okay, had it been factory pipelines, the pipelines outside the factory premises, blocked. Okay, but ducts and manholes, these are not specifically excluded. So that will be considered as plant and machinery, and therefore ITC on the same is going to be. Are you clear till here? Yes, that was one of the clarification. If you see, nothing new is added. They have just done the clarification. Okay, there will be very few places where they have added something new. Okay, now let's go to the next one, everyone. Circular number 195/723, read with this new circular. Okay, do you recollect when we were doing the amendments of supply under GST? There was a circular relating to free warranty, repairs and replacement. Do you recollect there was a circular relating to that? Yes. So now, relating to that circular itself, we have got certain points under input tax credit. Okay, relating to that circular, we have got certain points under input tax credit. Let's try to understand the same. Okay. Now here, everyone, just try to understand. Now, when we were doing this ITC chapter, etc., do you recollect, before starting the section number 17, before starting this blocked credits, we had seen that if we are doing, yes, when we started with the section number 17, at that time we studied that if a taxable person is making taxable supply and if he is making exempt supply, okay, on taxable supply he is going to pay the GST, so he will also get the ITC of the same on his purchases. Okay, but when this person is doing an exempt supply, okay, if I am doing some supply on which GST is exempted, on which GST is not applicable, etc., then whatever I have purchased, I will not get the credit of the same. Do you recollect that? Yes, this we had done in section number 70. So now here the question arises is, let's say if the original equipment manufacturer, just try to understand one case, you will able to relate it to the other cases also. Okay, let's say original equipment manufacturer has sold some goods to the customer. Okay, he has sold some goods to the customer, and along with the goods, it has also given some free warranty of 1 year on the goods. Can we say customer would have paid some amount to the original equipment manufacturer? Yes. Okay, now, let's say something happens to that goods. Okay, let's say something happens to the goods within a time period of 1 year itself. Something happens to the goods within a time period of 1 year itself. Then can we say customer will be able to get the free warranty services from the original equipment manufacturer? Free warranty services. Yes, free replacement of goods, etc. Yes. Now, for that, OEM is not charging anything from the customer because he is giving free warranty. If he is not charging, we have already studied in supply under GST chapter that it is going to be totally free of GST also, that there will be no GST applicable. Yes, why? Why? Because it was written under the contract that the OEM is going to give the free warranty. So now my question that has arisen here is, OEM has given the goods for which consideration was charged from the customer. OEM has also given free 1 year warranty, for which also there is a hidden consideration, in the goods itself, right? Now let's say if OEM has charged 45,000 rupees for that AC, means 45,000 is for the goods also and 45,000 is for the warranty also. Even if they may call it as a advertisement tactic, ठीक है, एडवर्टीजमेंट के लिए उन लोग खाली इतना बोल सकते हैं that it is free, just for the purpose of marketing purpose, OEM will say that it is free warranty, but actually it is not free, we have paid for it, right? So this warranty which OEM is giving it to the customer for free, this is not actually free. Okay, so this cannot be considered as exempt supply. Okay, this cannot be considered as what? This can never be considered as, they try to fool you. Okay, this cannot be considered as an exempt supply. So now the next question that arises is the OEM required to reverse any ITC? Can we say the supply done by the OEM to customer is a taxable supply? It is not an exempt supply. So whatever purchases the OEM has done, or whatever inputs or whatever ITC the OEM has paid, that is not required to be reversed. Why? Because the supply which is further done, by the OEM to the customer is not an exempt supply, it is a taxable supply. So no reversal of ITC is required. Okay, no reversal of ITC is required, right? Because the supply which is done by the OEM to the customer, even if it looks free, but it is not actually free, right? Similarly, when a distributor provides, replacement of parts to the customer, on whose behalf? On behalf of the manufacturer. So now the question arises, will the distributor be required to reverse it for the, will the distributor be required to reverse the ITC? Okay, so now here, just try to understand. What if distributor gives it to the customer for free? Okay, what if distributor gives it to the customer for free and later the distributor gets it reimbursed from the manufacturer? Then can we say anyway here there was a consideration involved? If there was a consideration involved, then there was a GST also involved. So is it an exempt supply or is it a taxable supply? It is a taxable supply. If it is a taxable supply, then question of reversal of ITC will never come into picture. Yes, that is the first case. Okay, next case. Let's say distributor gave it to the customer. Okay, this B case I am talking about. Distributor gave it to the customer for free. Okay, they say it as free, but ultimately we have charged the consideration. Okay, and then after that, manufacturer gives that part. Okay, manufacturer also gives that part to the distributor for free. Manufacturer replaces that part to the distributor for free and distributor does it for the customer. Okay, so here again they are telling, okay, even if this warranty or replacement looks like free, but whatever amount we have charged from the customer, that includes the amount for replacement. Okay, if that includes the amount for replacement, then this supply is not considered as an exempt supply. It will be considered as a taxable supply, and distributor etc. will not have to the manufacturer will not have to do any reversal. Okay, even if manufacturer is giving it to the distributor for free, he has already, at the time of initial sale, he has already charged that consideration, so he is not required to do any reversal of IT. Are you understanding this? This is the next point. Another point. Do you recollect that credit note point? Yes, where the distributor had given the goods as replacement to the customer out of the new stock of the manufacturer. In that case, manufacturer had issued the credit note. If credit note was given, then anyway the tax liability gets adjusted. Yes, because credit note is always of a particular value plus the tax amount, right? And similarly, let's say distributor does the replacement for the customer from his own stock. Okay, he does the replacement for the customer from his own stock, and then he goes and asks it from the manufacturer. Okay, and manufacturer gives it to the distributor for free, that is without charging any consideration. Then in that case anyway there was no GST applicable, but again this cannot be considered as an exempt supply. This will be considered as a taxable supply. So in this case again manufacturer is not required to do any reverse. Are you understanding this? Yes. So basically, see, whenever you listen to the word called as free warranty, okay, for the purpose of paying GST, there will be no GST because the value was already included in the original goods value. Okay, let's say I have purchased this AC. Okay, let's say I have purchased this AC for 45,000 rupees, and they are giving me 1 year free warranty also. Means in that 45,000 I have paid for that warranty. Okay, later when there is a free replacement, at that time again there will be no GST applicable. GST was applicable initially itself. Yes. Okay. And last, what are they trying to tell us here, everyone? Where the distributor provides repair, not replacement now. When the distributor provides repair service in addition to replacement service without any consideration, but distributor takes the reimbursement from the manufacturer, etc. Whether ITC is available or not, definitely ITC will be available. Now see, everyone, just try to understand. Let's say distributor provides it to whom? Distributor provides it to the customer for free. Repair it is providing it to the customer for free. Okay, and then manufacturer is reimbursing to the distributor. Then who will raise the invoice on whom? Distributor will raise the invoice on the manufacturer, and manufacturer will pay for the same. So can we say manufacturer will be eligible for ITC? If manufacturer has paid to the distributor, he will pay along with GST. If he will pay along with GST, then ITC on the same will also be available. Right? So ITC, basically conclusion here is, in none of the cases, the ITC is going to be blocked. Okay? In none of the cases, ITC is going to be. I hope you have understood till here. Yes? Okay. Okay, so let's start with the other amendments of the ITC chapter. Let's try to do that. Please come to section number 16(2)AA. In your ITC chapter, please come to section number 16(2)AA. In the beginning itself, we have got section number 16, right? In that section number 16(2)AA. I hope you have got it, everyone. Okay, so now in section number 16(2)AA, what we had seen was when is ITC available? Okay, this is a very normal thing which we have revised so many times in the class also. When will a registered person be eligible for ITC? Only when the details have been put in GSTR1, or when the details have been put in IFF. Okay, by the supplier. If supplier puts my details in GSTR1 or in IFF, then I will get the credit of the same. In which form? In form number GSTR2B. Do you recollect this? Okay, now what they have done is they have introduced one more form called as GSTR1A. Okay, along with GSTR1. GSTR1 is still there. There is one more form, that is one more return, the statement that is introduced called as GSTR1A. So if the supplier puts the details in GSTR1, or if he puts the details in GSTR1A, or if he puts the details in IFF, then only I will be able to get the credit in my GSTR2B. So this is the new thing which has been added here. Okay, ma'am, what is GSTR1A? That we will see when we do the returns chapter. Okay, but along with GSTR1, now the supplier can also fill one more statement called as GSTR1A. Okay, that is one of the amendment that is given here. Okay. Now, in short, if I want to tell you, can we say all the supply details are put in GSTR1? Yes, by the supplier. Now, if the supplier wants to do some correction, okay, or if he wants to amend some details, then those amendments can be done in GSTR1A. Okay, and then the data goes in which form? Then the data goes in the recipient's GSTR2. Okay, so GSTR1 is the original form that is used, and if the supplier wants to do any corrections, any amendments, any additions, then in that case it can use the form called as GSTR1A, and it can do the thing. Manageable till here? Yes. Okay, that was a small amendment that is given in 16(2)AA. Okay. Then after that, let's go ahead. Similarly, consequential amendment in 16(2)(ba). In your textbook, everyone, you can come to point D, that is 16(2)(ba). We had studied a point that whatever details are furnished by the supplier in GSTR 1A IFF, that will get reflected, that will get auto generated in the recipient's GSTR 2B, and that should be such what do you say, ITC, which is not restricted. Okay, it should be such ITC which is not restricted because of any reasons. So the entire section remains the same, just that along with GSTR 1, we have to take the reference of GSTR 1A also. Okay, that was another amendment. This one we have already covered. Reverse charge mechanism invoices. Okay, then a new section is inserted, that is section number 16(6). Let's try to do new section, section number 16(6). Here it is. Can we start? Yes? Okay. Now see, do you recollect section number 16(4)? First of all, 16(4) was the time limit for availing ITC. Do you recollect what is the time limit for availing the ITC? So whatever invoices or whatever debit notes are issued in a particular financial year, of that we can take the ITC anytime till 30th November of the succeeding financial year, or before filing the annual return, whichever is earlier. Okay, if you do not take, let's talk about the financial year, let's say 24-25. Let's talk about 24-25. Whatever invoices or whatever debit notes are issued during the year 24-25, that you can avail maximum by next year 30th November, or before filing the annual return for the financial year 24-25, whichever is earlier. Okay, and whenever we want to avail the ITC, we need to file the returns. Okay, return filing is mandatory. Without filing GSTR 3B, you cannot avail the ITC. Okay, now they are telling us about a special case, okay, which is put here in section number 16(6). What are they telling us here is, let's say for example, if someone's registration has been cancelled, okay, if someone's registration has been cancelled and subsequently it has been revoked, means cancellation has been cancelled. Means the registration has now become active. Okay, so first the registration was cancelled. You will study more about this in the registration chapter. So if the registration is cancelled and then it is revoked, means now the GST department is saying no, okay, we will not cancel it. Okay, maybe you made a application, you made a request, etc. Then in that case, for this period, okay, from the day when your registration was cancelled till the day your registration is made active, during this period, you were not able to file the returns on the GST portal. Okay, because your registration showed cancelled till that time, so you were not able to file any GSTR 3B, etc. Okay, so now what excuse will you give to the government? Sir, I was not able to file the GSTR 3B during this period, maybe pertaining to the previous financial year, etc. So sir, how can we claim the ITC? Sir, how can we claim the ITC? And we already have section number 16(4) standing with us, which says that the time limit for availing the ITC is limited, that is till 30th November, or before filing the relevant annual return, whichever is earlier. But sir, because your portal did not allow me to file the returns during this period, so how can I avail the ITC now that my registration is going to be active? So government says, okay, section 16(6) says that, okay, we will provide you certain relaxation. The relaxation is that, okay, no problem. Once your registration has become active, if you are able to file the return within 30 days of revocation, okay, within 30 days of revocation, if you are able to file the return, well and good, then you can avail the ITC. Okay, but if you are not able to file it within a period of 30 days, then gone. Okay, then it is gone. Then you cannot avail the benefit of I hope you are very, very clear with this. Yes. So this specific section is applicable only when your registration was earlier cancelled and now it is revoked and you could not file the returns during this interim period. So no problem. When your registration has become active from that day, within 30 days, we will still allow you to file the returns and you can avail the benefit of IT. Yes, this was told under which section number? This was told under section number here, under section number 16. Yes. Okay. Okay. Next, one more circular. Please come to blocked credit points, everyone. In blocked credits, the first one, motor vehicle. In blocked credits, the first one, which was talking about motor vehicle. Do you recollect in this motor vehicle point, we had studied that if there is a particular motor vehicle which is used for transportation of persons with seating capacity of less than or equal to 13 persons, okay, then it was considered as an ineligible motor vehicle. And if it is an ineligible motor vehicle, then in that case, ITC on that same is going to be totally blocked. Okay, ITC on that is going to be totally blocked, but we had studied certain exceptions that let's say if this motor vehicle is purchased by a car dealer because he is going to do a further taxable supply, then in that case ITC will be allowed. If someone is going to use it for rentals, okay, a cab driver is purchasing it because he is going to maybe tours and travels company is purchasing maybe because he is going to give it further on rent, etc. Or a motor driving school is purchasing it because they are going to impart training, means whenever we are going to use that motor vehicle for further taxable supply, then it is going to, then ITC on the same is going to be allowed. Okay, so now we have got a clarification on this point itself. Now see what are they telling us here. Clarification on availability of ITC in respect of demo vehicles, which are motor vehicles for transportation of passengers having approved seating capacity of less than or equal to 13 persons, related to point number 17.5a. Okay, see what are they telling. As demo vehicles are used by authorized dealers to provide trial run and to demonstrate the features of the vehicle to potential buyers, it helps the buyers to make a decision. Therefore, as demo vehicles promote sale of similar type of motor vehicles, they can be considered to be used by the dealer for making further supply. Okay, accordingly, ITC in respect of demo vehicles is not blocked. Okay, now let's say there is a car company. Okay, let's say there is a car dealer, for example. Okay, let's say there is a car dealer and car dealer is going to further sell the car to its customers. Okay, car dealer has purchased a particular car which is a demo vehicle, means which he is going to just use for demonstrating to its customers. Okay, and by taking a demo on that vehicle, the customer can decide whether to purchase this car or not to purchase this car. So even if this demo vehicle is having a seating capacity of less than or equal to 13 persons, but can we say this demo vehicle is going to be actually used for doing further supply to the customers? Yes, this is also going to be used by the car dealer to convince the customer ahead. So whenever this car dealer has purchased the demo vehicle, ITC on the same is going to be allowed. It is not going to be blocked. Okay, this is a clarification. This is a clarification which has been put in this motor vehicle point. I hope I am very, very clear with this. Yes, this is the circular. The circular is also put in your amendment notes and it is anywhere there in your mail. I hope this much is manageable, everyone. Yes. Okay. Okay. So I hope all the amendments till here, are manageable for you. Yes, ITC, small amendments are there. Yes. Okay, let's go to a small amendment in the next chapter, that is the registration chapter. In your registration chapter, please come to section number 24. Or 23 and 24, actually both of it. In your textbook, you will first find section number 24, which talks about compulsory registration. In compulsory registration, in your textbook itself, within compulsory registration, in your textbook itself, can you see this third point? So we had studied the cases, we had studied the entire list where the persons are required to get themselves compulsorily registered. In that, one of them was, if you are a recipient, okay, I'm not the supplier, I'm the recipient on which I am required to pay the tax under reverse charge mechanism, then I have to get myself compulsorily registered. That was the point given here. Can you just read this one so that you will be able to recollect? Yes, persons who are required to pay tax under reverse charge mechanism on inward supplies received. However, the one who is exclusively making outward supplies. See, when we talk about a supplier and when we talk about a recipient, okay, when we talk about supplier, when we talk about recipient, and if this transaction comes under reverse charge mechanism, then the provision that we had studied was recipient, because now RCM is applicable, so recipient will be required to pay the tax. So recipient will be covered under section number 24, and he will be required to take compulsory registration. Okay, and at the same time they had told that supplier is not liable. Okay, supplier is not liable if he is doing only those supplies where RCM is applicable. So supplier is not liable to compulsory registration. Yes, they are exempted from registration. This is what we had studied, and now they have just added a point there. They have just given a reference there that this clause is not applicable. The supplier clause is not applicable if he is a supplier of metal scrap. Means if this person is a supplier of metal scrap, and here even if recipient is even if the transaction comes under reverse charge mechanism, still exemption from compulsory registration is not applicable to supplier. Means supplier will have to get himself registered. Yes, again I will repeat from the amendment notes, everyone. See, if there is a supplier, okay, if there is a supplier who is doing some supplies which is taxable under reverse charge mechanism, that is taxes payable by whom? Taxes payable by the recipient, then recipient is liable to take compulsory registration, and supplier, because there is no tax liability on him, he is excluded from, he is exempted from registration. But if this supplier is a supplier of metal scrap, okay, if he is a supplier of metal scrap, then he will have to take himself, he will have to get himself registered. Okay, this is the point that is coming under section number 24 also, and the same reference is going to come in section number 23 also. Person not liable to registration, in that there was a point here. There was a point here. Person making only reverse charge supplies. So any person who is making only reverse charge supplies. So supplier was exempted from registration, but this point is not applicable if you are a dealer of metal. Manageable? Yes. Okay. Done. Done. Okay. So now in the registration chapter, one amendment that we completed was about that compulsory registration. That point we completed, that any person who is just required to pay, who is just doing outward supplies, and that is taxable under reverse charge mechanism. So compulsory registration was not required except if he is a supplier of metal scrap, etc. That was one of the amendment that we had completed. Another one is a very nice one. Do you recollect when we did this Aadhaar authentication? Okay, in that we did one specific point. In this Aadhaar authentication, we did one specific point which was talking about risk-based system, etc. Risk-based biometric Aadhaar authentication. Do you recollect that? And they had started a pilot project in the state of Gujarat, Puducherry, and Andhra Pradesh, something like that we did. So now what they are doing is, that this risk-based biometric registration, okay, whichever the government is identifying, whichever the system is identifying that this particular person is a risk-based person, etc., and we should tell him to come to the facilitation center and do the Aadhaar-based authentication, etc. So now this has been made applicable. Now this has been made applicable to all the states and union territories. Okay, earlier it was just a pilot project in these three states, Gujarat, Puducherry and Andhra Pradesh, but now it has been made applicable to all the states and union territories. Okay, so that is one change actually which has happened. And okay, that's it. Manageable till here? Okay. Now let's go to the next small amendment which is there under the payment of tax chapter. Payment of tax. In payment of tax in our textbook, please come to section number 50, 50. Please come to section number 50 where we had done the interest calculations in multiple cases, etc. I hope you are there on section number 50, everyone. Section number 50. Yes. Okay. In section number 50, in the first point itself, there is one extra thing that has been added here. See if you can recollect. I'll just help you in recollecting the provision. The provision was such that we have for a particular time period, let's say for a particular month or for a particular quarter, we have shown, okay, we have shown all our sales. We have shown all our sales in the GSTR 3B. Okay, we have shown, we have disclosed everything properly, but there was a delay. Okay, but there was a delay in filing the GSTR 3B. So they had told that for whatever number of days the delay is there, okay, beyond the due date, then interest will be applicable at the notified rate, right? Now let's say your tax liability, your output tax liability or sales tax liability is equal to 100 rupees, amount which is kept in your electronic credit ledger. Credit ledger will be utilized first. Let's say you have got 40 rupees kept in your electronic credit ledger, and the amount payable by you from electronic cash ledger. Okay, electronic cash ledger amount payable was 60 rupees. So can we say interest will be applicable only on the 60 rupees? This is what we had studied. Okay, why interest will be applicable on the 60 rupees? Because there was a delay in filing the GSTR 3B, means there was a delay in payment of this 60 rupees also. So government will say that, okay, interest will be applicable on this 60 rupees. Okay, but now very good point that they have introduced here is, what if I have deposited this 60? Okay, what if I have deposited this 60 rupees in my electronic cash ledger? What if I have deposited this 60 in my electronic cash ledger before the due date? Means money was kept in the electronic cash ledger. Electronic cash ledger, I have put money from my bank account into the electronic cash ledger. Just that there is a delay in filing the GSTR 3B. So they say that if before the due date of filing this GSTR 3B, if 60 rupees was already kept, it was already credited in the electronic cash ledger, then interest will not be applicable on the 60 also. Because it's just that there was a delay in filing the return, but the money was already given to the government. Okay, so there will be no interest applicable there. Okay, see what is the wording given here. However, where any amount has been credited in the electronic cash ledger on or before the due date of filing the said return, but is debited from the ledger while filing the said return after due date, means 60. See, 40 is anyway kept in my electronic credit ledger, that is anyway with the government. And this 60 also, this 60, the balance tax payable also, I credited, I put that money in the electronic cash ledger, just that there was a delay in filing the GSTR 3B. Then government says we cannot take interest on this 60 because the 60 rupees is already with the government. Okay, just utilization of the 60 is left. Okay, utilization for payment of tax is left, but that money is anyway kept with the government. So the said amount cannot be taken into consideration while calculating such interest if the said amount is lying in the ledger. Are you clear with this? So good point for the taxpayers. Good point for the taxpayers, because see, ultimately I had to pay how much? Ultimately I had to pay this 100. How did I decide to pay this 100? 40 I decided to pay out of my credit ledger. Whatever balance is kept in the credit ledger, that is anyway on the government portal. So that money is anyway gone to the government. Okay. And this balance 60, I decided to pay from my pocket. From my pocket, I decided to pay. And this I had already put from my bank account to the electronic cash ledger before the due date itself. So actually speaking, the money is anyway with the government. So government is not going to take any interest on the same. I hope this much is manageable, everyone. Yes, simple. Okay, done. Manageable till here? Okay, so let's start with the next chapter amendments. That is your TDS and TCS. Good amendment made here in TCS. Okay, in TDS also we have got one amendment, but let's complete it one by one. First, let's go to the TDS addition that they have done. That is under section number 51. Do you recollect the provisions of TDS? Yes, when there is a particular registered person, okay, whenever he is doing some transactions with central government, state government, local authority, governmental agencies, notified persons, etc. At that time, whenever these people pay the consideration to the registered person, at that time they will be required to deduct the TDS. Do you recollect this provision? This we had studied that. Provided there were certain conditions, the value should be the total value of taxable value of goods and services. If under a contract that should be exceeding rupees 2,50,000. If this condition gets fulfilled, then TDS is applicable at the rate of 1% under CGST Act. And so basically 2%, 1% plus 1% under CGST plus 1% under SGST, or 2% under IGST. So TDS at the rate of 2% was required to be deducted. Okay, now ma'am, what is the amendment in that? So the amendment is, do you recollect we had a list of this notified persons or category of persons? In that, one point has been added. Okay, so first point that we had was any authority or board which is set up by the government or under an act of parliament, etc. Second point that we had was a society which was established by the government, etc. Third point was your PSU. We had only till here. Now a new point has been added. Now a new point has been added here, that if there is any person who is purchasing, okay, who is receiving supplies of metal scrap. Okay, let's say there is a particular registered person who is supplying metal scrap. Okay, there is a registered person who is supplying some metal scrap to another registered person. Okay, metal scrap supplied by one registered person to another registered person. So can we say the second registered person is going to pay the consideration to the first person? Yes, at the time of paying this consideration, it will be required to deduct the TDS. Okay, so basically this is product specific, that whenever there is any supply of metal scrap that is happening, at that time TDS provisions will be applicable. Right, so this is one thing that has been added. So basically they are trying to expand the the provisions of GST to the metal scrap industry also, and they are trying to regulate it, right? And then correspondingly they have done the amendment here also. The amendment is, in that we had studied some cases where TDS was not required to be deducted. Remember when the transaction was happening between one PSU to another PSU? At that time, this TDS was not required to be deducted. Same way, if it was happening between A to B, B to C, A to C, etc., at that time also TDS was not required to be deducted. Okay, but now they have put except the persons referred to in clause D. Okay, clause D means the newly added clause that we are talking. So basically if there is any supply, okay, if there is any supply of metal scrap that is happening between any of the persons, between A, B, C, D, then in that case TDS provisions will be applicable. Okay, so see what are they telling? It has been further provided that TDS shall be deducted by the recipient even when it is supplied between the persons mentioned in point A, B, C, D. Okay, so basically first they told that, okay, first they told that if between this A, B, C, D, if you are doing any supply internally, if you are doing any supply, then in that case TDS will not be applicable. But when it is a supply of metal scrap specifically, at that time TDS provisions will become applicable. right? This was the amendment that they had given under TDS. Okay, TDS amendments are done. Now going on to the TCS. Okay, now going on to the TCS amendment under section 52, major amendment in TCS. Okay, so now what we had studied in our lectures was TCS. Okay, or if you are yet to start with the TCS provision, uh, I'll tell you now itself. Earlier what happened was TCS percentage. Okay, TCS percentage was basically 1%. Okay, just like TDS is effectively and final rate I'm telling, TCS was there at the rate of 1%. Now it has been slashed. Okay, it has been brought down to 0.5%. Okay, whatever rate I'm telling you of the 0.5%, this is your IGST rate. So if I tell you CGST wise, then it will be 0.25% under CGST and 0.25% under SGST or UTGST. So effectively now the new rate is going to be 0.5%. Yes. So if you are using any old book or if you have already listened to the lectures earlier, etc., then please do this corresponding amendment. It will have effect in your question bank also. Okay, it will have effect in your question bank also. So please do the necessary amendment. Okay, TCS rate has been slashed to half. So wherever you had 1% return, okay, now please make it 0.5%. Wherever you had 0.5% return earlier, okay, wherever you had 0.5% return earlier, please make it 0.25%. Yes. See, when we talk about individual rates under CGST Act and SGST Act, then it was 0.25, then it will become 0.25, 0.25, na? Okay, and the effective rate now is equal to 0.5%. That is half percent is your TCS rate. That's it. Okay, so these are your amendments. These are your amendments. And yes, one more thing I would like to tell you is, this rate amendment. See, we did two amendments now basically. We did two amendments. TDS amendment we did, that is that metal scrap. Okay, and TCS amendment, that is the rate change, that amendment we did, right? Now this metal scrap amendment. Okay, see, for CA final students, both of these amendments are applicable for May 25, from May 25 examinations. When I talk about CA inter students, okay, when I talk about CA inter students, then this metal scrap, same, it is applicable from May 25 examination. Rate change is also applicable for May 25 examinations. It is not applicable for Jan 25. Okay, so these amendments are for CA inter. I am telling you, this is not applicable for Jan 25. It will be applicable from May 25 examinations. Yes, so if at all you are a CA inter student who is watching this particular lecture, then TCS rate change amendment is not applicable for your Jan 25 examinations. It will be applicable from May 25. Yes. Okay, it's done. Okay, let's do the amendment, additions and the amendments from the returns chapter. Very simple. One new thing added, two things amended, etc. that we need to do here. Okay, so first of all, when we were doing this explanation to section number 37, when we were discussing about GSTR 1 basically, do you recollect? If you are filing your GSTR 1 on monthly basis, okay, then in that case IFF facility is not applicable. But when you are filing your when you are there under QRMP scheme, quarterly return monthly payment, then for the first 2 months of the quarter you can file the IFF and then you can file the GSTR 1. This we had studied. And while doing that, okay, this is your textbook actually. Okay, so while doing that, we had studied what all details will you submit in IFF. So we had decided that only B2B invoices, because the purpose of filing the IFF was to give the credit to the recipient. So only B2B invoices will be submitted in IFF, and rest all the details will be submitted in GSTR 1 or GSTR 1A. Okay, 1A we will do now. So rest all the details will be B2B as well as B2C will go under your GSTR 1 or 1A. In that we had studied that all the remaining B2B supplies, okay, all irrespective of amount, even if it is a 100 rupees invoice, if it is a B2B supplier, we have to put that details because it has got the tax effect, because the ITC should go to the recipient. All those details will go in your GSTR 1 or 1A. But in case of B2C, in case of interstate supplies which are made to unregistered person, only those details where the invoice value exceeded a certain limit, only those we are required to submit this invoice wise details. Okay, this I am talking about invoice wise details. Rest everything is going to go on consolidated basis. Now what we had studied earlier was this limit. Okay, this limit in case of B2C supplies. Okay, in case of B2C supplies, when is invoice wise details required? When you have made interstate supplies, interstate B2C supplies, right? Interstate, one state to another state, B2C supplies, when the invoice value exceeded rupees 2,50,000, then you had to give the invoice wise details. And interstate supplies for value up to 2,50,000, you need not give invoice wise, but you can give it for each state. Okay, now what is the amendment? This was the old provision. I will write it here. This was the old provision. Now what changes they have done is, instead of 2,50,000 limit, they have brought down the limit to 1 lakh rupees. Okay, so can we say if they have reduced the threshold limit, means now more and more invoices reporting is going to happen here, right? So if it exceeds rupees 1 lakh, then we'll have to give invoice wise details. If it is up to rupees 1 lakh, then we can give it for each state. Yes, so the only amendment here is, instead of 2,50,000, this is the old provision, na? Yes, instead of 2,50,000, the limit now has been changed to 1. Okay, please do this amendment in your book. I have also mentioned this entire table. Okay, entire table I have mentioned in your amendment sheet also. Okay, another one is about GSTR 1A. Okay, another one is about GSTR 1A, the reference of which we had seen in the earlier chapters also. So now, as I had told you, okay, overview I had given you, that suppose if you have filed GSTR 1, okay, maybe monthly basis, maybe quarterly basis, doesn't matter. Whenever you have filed GSTR 1, and if you want to do some amendment in that, maybe you want to bring some figures down, or if you want to increase some figure, then in that case, optional. Okay, this is not compulsory. If you want to do any amendment, then you can file after filing your GSTR 1. Okay, you have filed your GSTR 1, now you realize that there is some mistake or you want to do certain amendments in that, then you can file your GSTR 1A. Okay, now ma'am, when can we file this GSTR 1A? So GSTR 1A, see, first chronologically if I tell you, then first you will file your GSTR 1, okay, or you will file your IFF, whatever, IFF and GSTR 1. Then you realize that there is some mistake. Okay, there is some mistake in which? There is some mistake in your GSTR 1. Then in that case, you will file your GSTR 1A. Okay, and this GSTR 1A has to be filed before filing GSTR 3B, because GSTR 3B is full and final. Okay, this is going to be full and final. So after filing GSTR 1 and before filing GSTR 3B, you have the option to file the GSTR 1. Yes, after filing GSTR 1 and before filing GSTR 3B, you have got the option to file GSTR 1. I hope I am very, very clear till here. Yes, so basically they have given a facility. They have given a facility where you can do certain amendment of any wrong data that you have wrongfully posted in GSTR 1. Okay, and then the data from GSTR 1 and 1A will go where? The data from GSTR 1 and 1A will go to the recipient GSTR 2B, and it will also come under our GSTR 3B. That's why 1A can be filed. That's why 1A can be filed only before filing GSTR 3. I hope I'm very, very clear with this. Yes, example for the same has been given here. You can just refer the example 1. And yes, again, this is an optional facility. Only if you want to do certain corrections, only if there are certain amendments, then only this has to be filed. And this can be filed only once. It cannot be like you can revise as many number of times as you want. Are you clear with this? Okay, again, I will tell you. First, you will file your GSTR 1. Okay, normally what happens is from GSTR 1, the data goes into the recipient's GSTR 2B. Okay, and from there it will go into my GSTR 3B. This was my GSTR 1 and it will also go in my GSTR 3B. Now what can happen is once you file your GSTR 1, okay, once you file your GSTR 1, if you think that there is any correction in that, you will file your GSTR 1A. Accordingly, the data will go. Accordingly, the data will go in GSTR 2B, and accordingly, the data is going to go. The revised data is going to go in the GSTR 3. Are you clear with this? Yes. And the GSTR 1A, this one, GSTR 1A can be filed only before filing your GSTR 3B, and this amendment, this form can be filed only electronically. Okay, it cannot be filed manually, it can be filed only electronically. Are you clear with this? Acha, now listen, there is a date. Okay, there is a date for filing GSTR 1, right? So if you file your GSTR 1 on time, then only the data goes in GSTR 2B, right? If you file your GSTR 1 little late, okay, then can we say even the data gets delayed in GSTR 2B? So whatever data you are putting in GSTR 1A, okay, little late, then it will get reflected in your GSTR 2B also little late. I hope I'm very, very clear with this. Okay, let's say the due date for filing GSTR 1 is 10th. Okay, 10th of the succeeding month. So whatever you put in by 10th in GSTR 1, that will be reflected in relevant month GSTR 2B only. But whatever data you put, let's say 5 days later in GSTR 1A, so that will get reflected in the next month GSTR 2B. You will be able to take the credit. That is not a problem. Just the availment of credit will be delayed because you filed this little late. Okay, but this has to be filed before what? This has to be filed before filing your GSTR 3. I hope I am very, very clear with this. Yes, same things are written here. Key features, etc. are written. Manageable? Yes. Okay. And the last amendment, the last point, the corresponding amendment that is coming up here is in form number GSTR 2B. I will show it to you. Okay, the place where we studied about GSTR 2B. From where all do we get the data in GSTR 2B? We get the data in GSTR 2B from your GSTR 1. Okay, now additionally, from where will you get the data? Now additionally, you will get the data from GSTR 1A, right? One is you get the data from GSTR 1, and next is, see, in GSTR 2B, in GSTR 2B, from where do you get the data? You get the data from GSTR 1, and now additionally you will get the data from GSTR 1A. Okay, this GSTR 2B belongs to whom? This GSTR 2B belongs to the recipient. This GSTR 1 and 1A is going to be filed by whom? This will be filed by the manageable. So wherever you had the reference of GSTR 1 along with that, now you have also got, now you will also get the reference of GSTR 1. Manageable till here. Done, done. Okay. Yes. So this is the new point that is added, that is GSTR 1. Yes. Whatever corrections we do in GSTR 1A, that will get reflected. That will get reflected in GSTR 2B. Okay. If you have filed it on time of GSTR 1, then it will get reflected for the current tax period only. If you have filed it a little late, then it will go in the next tax period. Manageable? Okay. Done. Okay, so now let's go to the last two things in the returns chapter. We had already completed about GSTR 1A mainly, and that 1 lakh rupee amendment in the return. Now going on to the next one, that is the composition supplier return. Okay, you can, I hope you can recollect, GSTR 4 was required to be filed by every person who was a composition dealer, and the due date for that Yearly return was that for the entire financial year, they had to submit a return by 30th April of the next financial year. Then they did an amendment with effect from 10th July 2024 that for a financial year from 24-25, okay, from 24-25 they have to furnish it instead of 30th April, they will have to furnish it till 30th of June. So they have got extra 2 months for furnishing their return. Okay, so basically till financial year 23-24, the due date is going to be 30th of April, and from financial year 24-25 onwards, the due date is going to be 30th of June. Okay, so this is how the changes will be taking place. So this amendment, this will be applicable from May 25 examinations. Okay, this will be applicable from May 25 examinations and onward. And then one last thing, not really very important, because your ICI itself has mentioned it that it is not important, but still I will tell you what is that. Yes, here. Do you recollect we had studied about this GSTR 9, 9A and 9B? We had studied about this. Yes, so this GSTR 9, okay, this GST, the annual return which we had to see. GSTR 9 was that annual return. GSTR 9A was required to be filed by this thing, your composition person, and 9B was required to be filed by the e-commerce operator, which is yet to be notified. We had studied about this. So now for GSTR 9 specifically, okay, for GSTR 9 specifically, what are they telling here is, if your turnover is up to, if your turnover in the financial year 23-24 is up to rupees 2 crore, then you are exempted from filing this GSTR 9. And see what your institute is writing. This is only for information of the students and is not relevant for examination purpose. So basically, if your turnover in the financial year 23-24 is up to rupees 2 crore only, up to rupees 2 crore, then GSTR 9 provisions are not applicable, means you need not file the annual return. Yes, not really very relevant, because they themselves have told that this is not relevant for your examination. Simple, manageable till here? Okay. Okay, so with this, we are done with all the relevant amendments for your May 2025 examinations and onwards. Yes, please make sure that you do this properly, these amendments properly. You have the amendment sheet also available with you. You have the lecture also available with you. We can also expect questions based on amendments in our examinations. Full chances are there. So please make sure that you do it properly. Okay, do this lecture 1 or 2 times. Okay, it will somewhere fit in your mind, and as such the amendments are not really very tough. Okay, there are not much additions, there are not much big amendments, there are not much conceptual amendments that has happened here, not many. Okay, so please make best use of the notes, please make best use of the lecture, and I wish you all the very best for your exam. Thank you so much.